In his search to help his patients become more healthy, Dr. Don Colbert kept coming back to one thing: food. And that eventually led him to develop what he calls the Keto Zone diet. Take a look.
Dr. Don Colbert is a best-selling author and has sold more than 10 million books. He's board certified in anti-aging and believes the diseases we are seeing today are related to the food we eat. For the last 5 years, Dr. Colbert has lived the Keto Zone diet and has seen results firsthand. He says it helps us gain mental clarity, lose weight, and reverse diseases by following a high-fat, low-carb, and moderate protein diet.
Please welcome back to the 700 Club, Dr. Don Colbert.
Hey.
Well, we want all those things that they just said.
Right.
Tell us, what is the Keto Zone diet?
Well, what the Keto Zone diet is, it's simply shifting your metabolism from burning sugar as its main fuel to burning fat. And when you burn fat, you start reversing inflammatory diseases. You start to burn belly fat. You start to also normalize blood sugar.
Wow.
And it's like turning a car engine from a gas burning or from a sugar burning engine to a fat burning engine.
How does this differ from the Atkins diet?
Well, the Atkins was, first of all, high protein, high fat, but the fat came mainly from animal products.
Right.
This is a predominantly healthy fats from plants, especially monounsaturated fats. They're highly anti-inflammatory, as well as omega-3 fats, which are highly anti-inflammatory.
So does all of that come from the food that you're eating?
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
You know, people are so phobic about this, I think, because it seems so counterintuitive. You're eating fat to burn fat.
Exactly. And what happened back in the 1950s, there were two major studies, huge studies, by Dr. Ansel Keys that literally branded fat, saturated fat, as enemy number one, but they threw all fats out.
Yes.
And they went low fat.
Yes.
High carbs. When you go low fat, you have to go high carbs because your appetite goes crazy.
Yes.
So what happened from 1960 to now, diseases have exploded. Back in the 1960s, obesity was rare. 1 in 7 people were obese. Diabetes was rare. But now, 1 in 3 are obese.
Yeah, that's...
And what's even scarier, over 100 million Americans right now, adults, are either diabetic or pre-diabetic. But by 2050, it's projected that 1 in 3 Americans will be diabetic.
Wow. And we haven't even touched cancer yet.
Right.
This all started for you because you saw all of these things happening in the lives of your patients. What was it that brought you to the place of understanding the value of good fat in our diets?
Well, years ago, I started seeing a lot of advanced cancer patients come in, and their oncologists had given up on them. They just sent them home to die. They just said, here's hospice, here's the number of hospice, get a nurse, and just take your pain meds and go die. And so they started showing up at my office, and I couldn't believe so many. So I said, I've got to learn more about cancer. So I took a fellowship in integrative medicine treating cancer. And so I learned that there's nutrients that help. But the thing that stood out was the thing that helped the most for cancer patients was a healthy ketogenic diet.
Which means sugar out.
Yes, 80% of your diet are fats. Just a small amount of animal protein, and then lots of green veggies. Lots of green veggies, not starches or sugars. The sugars and starches and carbs feed the cancer. And so when you take away the fuel for cancer and you give the body fats and ketones, it takes the fuel away from cancer. And I started treating cancer, advanced cancer, like a chronic disease.
And seeing results.
And seeing tremendous results. Now, some people died, but then other people were able to live on and on for years. Some went in remission.
Wow.
And so, again, this doctor told me years ago, I said, what is the key thing for cancer, nutritionally speaking? He says the most important is the ketogenic diet, but quickly added, no one can follow it long term. No one can give up all those sugars, carbs, and starches long term. So I set about then to develop a program for my patients, and I worked with my advanced cancer patients. They would do food diaries. We'd check them every week. We'd count their carbs, count their fats, make sure they were on 80% fats. Their carbs were real low. We made sure they were in ketosis, nutritional ketosis, not ketoacidosis. And then all of a sudden, we saw these amazing changes. The belly fat burned off.
Yeah.
Diabetes, the elevated blood sugars normalized.
Yes.
Inflammatory diseases went away. They were living pain-free and feeling great and mentally sharp and sleeping great.
You know, the Bible says that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and we really are. This is like an amazing machine that God has given us, and we need to use it correctly. Some people right now might be saying, so what is a keto diet? Let's look at some options that you brought with you today and what food might look like. This is breakfast.
This is breakfast, and people can have the whole egg. This is eggs, not an omelet, scrambled eggs.
Not just
and
the
have
whites.
Have the whites and the yolks. Before, we'd just say no yolks, but now, since 2015, even the U.S. dietary guidelines are saying eat the yolk. It will not raise your cholesterol.
Where all the vitamins are, too.
Yes, that's where your essential phospholipids are, a lot of your Bs. But you got your eggs with the yolks, 2 to 3, or even more if you want, as well as you want to put in grass-fed butter, not regular butter, but grass-fed butter. You say butter, that's a bad, no, it's not. But grass-fed butter is healthy for you. But again, you can have a tablespoon.
Yes.
And I like to use a little avocado oil or a little extra virgin organic olive oil, but you got to cook it under low heat so it doesn't oxidize the oil. The butter doesn't matter, but I like low heat because it doesn't destroy all the nutrients. And then add your veggies. Add spinach, onions, tomatoes, salsa. A lot of people like salsa. Or you can add any other mushrooms, other veggies you want. And then at the end, I love avocados. Avocados are so filling.
That's the good fat.
You say, yes, absolutely. You say, well, Dr. Colbert, I'll be hungry in 2 or 3 hours. No, you won't. If you eat this, you will not be hungry for 4 to 6 hours. Especially if you have my Keto Zone coffee or tea. Now, what I do is I put the special coconut oil called MCT oil powder that tastes really good, no sugar in it, no carbs in it, just pure MCT oil, which is healthy fat. And you put it in your tea, green tea or coffee, it keeps you full for hours and you burn fat.
And after you have a great breakfast, this is what you have to look forward to for lunch.
I love this lunch. This is our Keto Zone chicken salad. Now we got our chicken in there, organic, preferred, free-range chicken. And then we put not regular mayonnaise. Realize that if you go to the store, the grocery store, and you get your mayonnaise, the first ingredient in there is going to be soybean oil or canola oil. Those are not healthy oils. They're inflammatory oils. So instead, get olive oil or avocado oil. And I love the avocado oil mayonnaise. Use lots of it in your chicken salad. The more of that fat, the better. And you're going to be full for hours.
Looks
and
great.
Then add your celery, your onions, some dill pickles, peppers, and then lettuce. Put it on lettuce. I'll make a sandwich with lettuce. Or we have a wonderful seed bread recipe in the book that's real low carb. That is very filling.
For those of us who like our bread.
Sure.
Okay, come on over here and this
Oh,
is
this
me.
is my
this
favorite.
is right here.
Can I tell you, this is my favorite. This is our wild Alaskan salmon on the grill. Now here, this is my favorite meal of all. My wife just made it this past weekend. And what I do with our salmon, we get wild Alaskan salmon or any wild salmon, not farm-raised salmon because it has too many antibiotics, pesticides, herbicides, all that other mess. So what I do is I coat it with extra virgin olive oil first. Then I take minced garlic and rub it with minced garlic all over. Then I put about a tablespoon of grass-fed butter on top. Then I cook it under low heat on the grill. Then when I take it off, I may add some more olive oil, a little more grass-fed butter to just make it juicy. And then I squeeze lemon on top. And all the explosion of flavors, you're going to be full for hours. And it's so good, and you can have as much of that as you want.
And speaking of good, take a look at this, people.
Yes.
You thought you couldn't have it, but here it is.
That's right. And that's what's so exciting. On the Keto Zone program, we are using fat as fuel. We have a healthy brownie recipe that doesn't use sugar. You're still in the zone. You're still burning fat. But you have that deep, dark chocolate. You have stevia. You have grass-fed butter. And it's very filling, and you're burning fat for hours.
You know, we have just mentioned 4 options for something good to eat here, but the book is called Dr. Colbert's Keto Zone Diet. It's available wherever books are sold. You want to get it. There's information there so you can understand everything that we've talked about today in our interview. And so to watch that, all you have to do is go to cbn.com. Be sure to get a hold of the book and start thinking about how to make your body work for you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You bring us great news.
Well, thank you. The KetoZone.com helps them with other recipes,
There you go. There you go.
We're their coach. We're their Keto Zone coach.
Awesome. Awesome. You can do this. So can I.